The child has brain cancer.
I'm not going to be gaslit by my own party, not one day more.
The people that didn't clap, the Democrats, I thought that was shameful.
People like me who have been disillusioned by the Democratic Party for a long time got to see an evilness there.
Now, am I MAGA? Am I a Trumper? I'm going to say everything Trump is doing is correct? No.
But if you feel absolutely nothing for a 13-year-old child who has brain cancer solely because Trump did a thing.
I cannot tell you how refreshing it was to wake up this morning and hear from other Democrats and see on my post other Democrats who are just as furious and ready to friggin' jump ship as I am.
I was disgusted.
Because I formerly am a Democrat. Obviously, I'm no longer anymore.
I don't stand with the Democratic Party anymore.
This is not left versus right. It's good versus evil. And I know I'm on the right side of history.
Democrats are ashamed of their Congress members, and they're leaving the Democrat Party in droves after President Trump's address to Congress, which some people are calling the State of the Union. Nancy Pelosi at Trump's State of the Union address.
I am not buying into what they're selling, because after what we saw yesterday, I'm actually glad that they pulled that yesterday, because people like me who have been disillusioned by the Democratic Party for a long time got to see an evilness there, got to see a diabolical side of the Democratic Party who's basically saying, we want you to fail. We don't care if you fail. It's like the scene in The Wizard of Oz when they finally go back to see the great Oz and they pull the curtain back and it's just a little old man just standing there like that doesn't have a clue. I'm not going to be afraid to voice my opinion anymore. I'm done. I am done. I am done. And you're not going to bully me off my own page by thinking logical thoughts. I'm not going to be gaslit by my own party. Not one day more.
If truths were told, America last, I love war, I steal from taxpayers, I voted against women.
Regardless of what you think of the president, this was the best part of the night. Honestly, the little boy that had brain cancer, and my sister was like, oh, well, he's exploiting the people. That's beyond the point. And that's what a lot of liberals and Democrats think, that he's exploiting them and he's exploiting. But my whole thing is, let me say this. Democrats exploit marginalized communities all the time. Where you at calling them out? But because Trump wants to show compassion for a boy that's dying from brain cancer, you're going to go and say that it's exploitation? For the people that didn't clap, the Democrats, I thought that was shameful. And I wanted to talk about this because I was disgusted. And then they had their little auctioneer signs up, like Musk Steals. But y'all was stealing from USAID. Y'all are doing and money laundering in USAID. And he's saying Musk is stealing, y'all stealing, Democrats. This is why I don't I made my point. I don't stand with the Democratic Party anymore. Now, am I MAGA? And am I a Trumper? I'm going to say everything Trump is doing is correct? No, because I have my own mind of my own. But I will never stand. I don't know. I feel like with Democrats, they too in their feelings and they're haters.
Trump really screwed us messing with Canada.
I'm about to show you guys. He's going to pull off of this trailer everything we buy from Canada. Oh, nothing. We don't get shit from Canada.
One of the clips that stood out to me was the clip about DJ Daniels, 13-year-old boy who has brain cancer, who was named an honorary Secret Service member. And you can tell that it just completely made his entire life. And if you just watch the clip from the angle of showing DJ, you would think the entire place is erupting. But let's zoom over to the Democrats. Not a single one of them standing or clapping. And then I see that this is what Nicole Wallace from MSNBC had to say.
Wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters.
The child has brain cancer. But why waste the opportunity for Orange Man Bad? I used to think that we could make some sort of progress across the aisle because I formerly am a Democrat. Obviously, I'm no longer anymore. And I thought that we could talk and have those conversations and maybe see eye to eye. But if you feel absolutely nothing for a 13-year-old child who has brain cancer solely because Trump did a thing, This is not left versus right. It's good versus evil. And I know I'm on the right side of history. Have a day.
I absolutely love how Trump thinks outside the box. And one of the Doge cuts that him and Trump enacted was they canceled all the government employees' business cards, their credit cards, right? And then a judge said you can't cancel their payment cards. You can't take them away. You got to give them credit cards. And they were like, oh, okay. So then they just put limits of $1 on the cards and gave them back to them. And my buddy who works for the government was telling me about how mad some of them were. Like, I can't use my credit card to go get lunch now. Oh, that cracks me up so much. Thank you, Trump.
I'm leaving the Republican Party. Okay. May I ask why? I don't agree with the policies anymore, and I'm leaning left. Okay. Well, although we can agree to disagree, I really respect you as a friend. I've enjoyed our friendship, and if you ever want to talk about politics, we can, but we don't have to. Thanks. I appreciate that. Of course. I'm leaving the Democratic Party. Oh, so you're phobic, a bigot, and a racist. What? No, I'm still me. It's just I don't align with your values anymore, and I find myself leaning more conservative. I mean, I never thought I'd say that. Well, we can disagree on politics, but we can't disagree on human values and human rights. I'm still me, the person you've known since 3rd grade, and I really have enjoyed our friendship. Well, last time I checked, I wasn't friends with
Yesterday, Donald Trump addressed the entire nation at about 8 o'clock at night, and the Democratic Party decided to take that time to protest his speech. So I guess in a way they were planning on doing a DEI protest because they had no cohesion. When I tell you they had people holding up signs, they had people heckling, they had people walking in and out, they had people on cell phones. They didn't quite know what they were doing. So in the wake of them not really understanding what they're doing or not having anything to actually fight for, they decided to all take a seat no matter what was said during the speech. And Donald Trump, the mastermind that he is, took this opportunity to make complete fools of them. So he said, I know that they're going to protest this speech. So what am I going to do? I'm going to trot out all of these individuals that have nothing to do with politics, and I'm going to congratulate them, or I'm going to acknowledge them. And the Democratic Party couldn't even stand up for that.
I think I can beat them all. And I have no desire whatsoever to run for office. I am not a politician. I am not qualified. But I know this much. When you consider who's on the other side and how he's gotten away with saying very little in terms of being coherent and articulating his thoughts clearly and concisely and what have you. This is not something that he's known to do. Yet and still, he has owned the Republican Party since 2015. Not only has he won, the Republican constituency has said, we don't want anybody else but him. We didn't want DeSantis. We didn't want Haley. We didn't want Christie. We didn't want Ramaswamy. We didn't want DeSantis. We didn't want anybody. We want him.
What does that say about the Republican Party?
It's not about what it says about the Republican Party. It's about what it says about the Democratic Party.
Why?
Because in the end, if you think about him being impeached twice, 34 felony counts or 34 felony convictions, and they still elected him president, it's not about him winning. It was an indictment against the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party was offering to American citizens. We might sit up there and talk about, hey, you should be a party for the working class, which the Democratic Party was once known for. They're not known for that right now. Why? Because their message was catering towards others and towards other issues, and they forgot about the people that brought them there, that elevated the Democratic Party to what it was over these last few decades. That's why they lost.
6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won a popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that. No, don't continue to do it. Find a new strategy.
When the guy who knows nothing about politics knows more than the people who are paid to talk about it. Oh, what an embarrassment. And this is why they can't have real conservatives on The View, because all it takes to completely destroy them is a guy who admittedly knows nothing about politics. Imagine what would happen if they had somebody there every day who just at least knew a little bit of something.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Red Dawn Daily with your hosts, me, Dawn Marie, and sometimes Leroy. Oh, Leroy, it's like I Dream of Jeannie or something. You look so good. You look so good. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think that there should be a permanent look for Leroy? I think we should always have the same hairstyle.